Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
Perfect.
Please come in. So, good afternoon, members of GST. Thank you very much for coming. Guests, Toastmaster guests, and of course from Alpha Cop. Thank you very much for being here and being present with us today. I am the presiding officer today. It'll give you a peek into how a Toastmasters meeting is conducted. If you read here, it's written GST. That's the club that we belong to. I spoke to your members at Alpha Corp today and asked them if they could give me a venue to conduct our meeting, because our regular meeting is conducted at an educational center, and today being Janmashtami, they had to close down, so we had to find a venue. There were other available venues to me, but I remember speaking with one of your colleagues here, and we had discussed the possibility of enjoying a session or a meeting like this where you could improve your communication skills. All right? Now, this particular concept is known as a Toastmasters meeting. What's it called?
Toastmasters meeting.
Excellent. Anybody do you have an idea of what a Toastmaster is? Have you heard of something known as toast?
Yeah.
Good. What's your definition of a toast?
I believe that's where you raise a point of appreciation or a point of value which defines another person, and that you put across your words of appreciation for that.
Absolutely. So a toast is when you want to appreciate somebody, and the symbolic way of raising a toast. The symbolic way of raising a toast in the old days was, most men would know about this. We go to the bars and the pubs and we do a lot of drinking. Do you do drinking? No? It's all right to drink. There's no harm. So we raise our wine glass up like this. Please come in. And we toast. Yeah? So in movies you must have seen, or in other places as well, where people raise a toast and they appreciate another person, right? This concept was developed in 1924 by a gentleman known as Ralph Smedley, because he noticed that most of his colleagues, when they were asked to stand up and speak, they started what? Shaking. They started shaking. They had lots to say, but when they were asked to stand and speak, they were stupefied. What were they? Stupefied. You know what a stupa is?
Stunned.
A stone. Yeah. What's the word?
Stunned.
Absolutely stunned. Yes. Gobsmacked. There's another word for it. It's called gobsmacked. Gob is your mouth. Smacked means you've been hit so hard that you can't speak. All right. So this is the Toastmasters meeting. It's very structured. It is very structured. So you must have seen the sergeant at arms. There are different roles and there are different officers who take up different roles. Me, I am the president of this particular club. I am not alone in this official duty of mine. There are six other people who help me run this club. Please come in. There are 6 other office bearers who help me run this club. So you'll have a president, you'll have a vice president education, a vice president membership, then you have a vice president public relations, then you have a vice president, you have a treasurer, you'll have a secretary, and then finally you'll have the sergeant of arms. And they all have their individual responsibilities. They all have their individual responsibilities. All right? Do you have a place there? Okay, you can come in front. Yeah, you can come here. We need one more chair. Are you okay? Every office bearer has their own responsibility, and that's how these meetings are conducted. So we are GST. Now, this is not a taxation or a tax company or stuff like that. We don't do any GST out here. This is Gurgaon Speakers Toastmasters Club. So it's GST. That's the acronym, GST. We are on our 54th meeting. So we meet every Saturday. We meet every Saturday precisely at 2:30 p.m. So this is our 54th Saturday of meetings. And we are fortunate that we could share our 54th meeting with you at Alpha Corporation. Is there somebody at the door? Yes, please come in. Okay. 54th meeting. Now, so how does this go? How does this play out? Of course, the Toastmaster would explain to you a little more in detail.
Yes, sir.
You need a shower?
Gonna be.
Yeah. So how does this play out? How does it play out? There are three sections. You'll find speakers written here. Now these are the people who've prepared speeches. Now the Toastmaster, like I said, is a very structured format. There are about 35 projects that you need to go through before you complete a particular module. So they have prepared speeches in advance, and they've got to come here and speak. Then they are evaluated. So these evaluators will evaluate their speech. They are all members. Sometimes you take the role of an evaluator, sometimes you take the role of a speaker. Now, these are the people that will play the roles today. They play their roles today. The Toastmaster of the day is very similar to your Masters of Ceremony. You must have heard of Masters of Ceremony? Yeah. The person who conducts the entire meeting from the start to the finish. So, and she or he would come with a theme. So, and the entire meeting builds into that particular theme. And the theme for today's meeting is, the spark is within you. And our Toastmaster of the day today is Toastmaster Anjana. Then we have a table topic section. Now this is the please come in. This is, this is the most interesting part of a meeting. It's called the table topic section. And then as you come as a table topic speaker, your name will be listed out here. In this particular case, you don't get time to think. You're only given a topic, and at the max, or at the maximum, you probably would get about 5 or 10 seconds to think on your feet. Please come in. To think on your feet. So we need a chair for you.
Yes.
So, can you stand for?
Yeah, I need.
Come sit. We'll get some.
Alright, so this section is that very interesting section where everybody from the house is given an opportunity to come here and speak. The idea of Toastmasters is that everybody present in the house should get an opportunity to come and speak, because that's the idea for you to become great public speakers. So you come here, all guests are allowed, anybody who's sitting in the house is allowed to come here, and you speak here for a minimum of 1 minute and at the maximum of 2.5 minutes. Timing is a very important aspect of Toastmasters, because you can't go on blabbering, but at the same time, you cannot be so curt that people don't even understand or even get your name. Alright, so you got to be very succinct. You got to be very succinct and succulent. Alright, just enough so it's juicy in your mouth, and not too much and not too little. Now, when we normally have guests who come over to our meetings, like we have 2 or 3 guests today, and they might be guests from other Toastmaster clubs, or they've never been a member of a Toastmaster club, but they want to be a member, or they find that the principles of Toastmasters interest them, they come over. I'll give you an example. We have Akash, who's a guest today. He's been here to our meetings once before. Then we have a guest here, Suchi, but she's a Toastmaster of another club, but she's visiting our club as a guest. She's the president of the TCS Toastmaster Club at GG6, which is at Walpahari. Now, the general evaluator is the person who evaluates the entire meeting from the start to the finish and gives us our feedback, whether we are saying the right things or the wrong things. We went, did we say something insensitive, something that we didn't do right, or something that we did well, and we need to be appreciated for that. So that's the general evaluator. Now the general evaluator is supported by auxiliary role players. Now the timer, who's the timer for today? Shanky. So Shanky is the timer for today, and she will have 3 cards with her. Alright? Every speech has a time limit. So when you reach your optimum time, you'll be shown a green card. When you reach the mid-level of your speech time, you'll be shown a yellow card. And when you are about to exceed or you've reached the maximum limit of your time, you'll be shown a red card. And you're given a grace of 30 seconds to complete your speech. Anything beyond that, you're a useless speaker. Anything beyond that, you're a useless speaker because you cannot go on blabbering like the radio. Now, then we have the R counter. Now this is very important, especially for us Indians in India, right? Because we use a lot of R's and ums and filler words, and you know, and so you know, you use all these words repeatedly and repetitively. So to help us check the use of these words whenever we speak, so that we are absolutely crisp like chips. So when we eat it, it goes, you know, crunch, crunch, right? And you're happy with it. So there's an R counter, and the R counter today is Sherry. She will come here and explain her role. And the next is the grammarian. The idea of speaking is to better your language skills. And the foundation of great public speaking is language, whether it is Hindi or it is English. In our particular case, it is English. So we have a grammarian who's going to be played by Anirudh, and he's going to be pointing out to us the good use of the language and also the bad use of the language. He is also responsible for giving us the word of the day, which I haven't put here, but I'll just put it on here. Now, this helps us to learn at least one word at every meeting. There are many words that we are not familiar with, but there are also many words that we are familiar with. So there's a word that he puts out here which we should consciously be able to use in our speech, randomly and spontaneously. And if you do that, then the house gives you a thumbs up. The house gives you a thumbs up to appreciate your sense of consciousness, that you are aware that this word is absolutely new and you are still in the capacity of using it. Then we have the parliamentarian. And the parliamentarian's role is really to check on your behavior, all right? So when a speaker is speaking, you're not supposed to be cross-talking. You're not supposed to be passing chits or walking out of the room or entering the room. It has to be absolutely still. So he gets a chance to speak and convey his message. And you, as an audience or a part of the audience, as a listener, you have absolutely undivided focus of listening to the speaker and understanding what the speaker is saying. All right? So Alpha Corporation, do you have any questions? No? Okay. In the meantime that we are being assisted by the facility people there, do you have any questions, Alpha Corp? Great. So what we're going to do now is I will start with our regular meeting protocol, and that will give you a chance to look into what or how a Toastmaster meeting proceeds. All right? But you will definitely be called up to speak in this particular section of our meeting. All right? We would, as GST team members, love to hear Alpha Corp come up and spontaneously speak. All right? It's a great art. It's one of the best arts that you can possibly learn. Warren Buffett said it, that if there's any art that any professional should be learning, it is public speaking. It is public speaking. Do you agree or disagree? No? I've had the opportunity to study at least about 15 or 20 biographies in the last 2 months, because I've got to go and give a lot of speeches at different locations. And what I learned is that 99% of all these great achievers are actually great speakers. Because if you do not have the power to convince or the power to explain, it's very unlikely that you're going to be in a position of executive power. So Warren Buffett, what he did is he cemented this idea that you should learn public speaking, because he has only one certificate in his office room, and that certificate is for public speaking. And he was at one of the college or university inaugurations, and he said that if there's one skill that you should learn today, that will make you 100% tomorrow is public speaking. Okay, so let me start the meeting. There are a couple of thank yous that I have to do, and that's how we normally start at our GST meeting. So we'll start with a round of applause for Alpha Corporation for giving us their venue. Next, you will hear a lot of clapping in our meetings. It's very important to encourage and applaud the speaker. So, coming back to our regular meeting. So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and guests. Thank you very much for coming. We have some guests with us here. Thank you for taking time out and coming to our meeting. Some of the recognitions that I would like to immediately mention out here is that we have Toastmaster Charu, who has completed her level 1. We don't have amongst us here today Toastmaster Anuradha, but she has finished or completed her level 2. We have Toastmaster Anjana, who is the Toastmaster of the day today, and she has also completed her level 2. And from all of us and on behalf of the entire GST team, we would like to very generously and very wholeheartedly thank Alpha Corporation for giving us the opportunity of coming here and hosting our 54th meeting. Couple of announcements for our GST team. GST team, your renewals are coming up on the 30th of September. Please try and renew your membership by the 15th of September so that we are not pushed till the last minute and it becomes the 11th hour and then you have the poor Vice President membership straddling and struggling to try and get our memberships in place. So please do that. All new members, please register on Pathways because that's your learning module. You need to register to start speaking. You can speak without registering, but then again, the completion would be difficult. We need to complete the projects for you. Third is that our speech contests are coming up in September. It's very pertinent that every member at GST takes a shot at the speech contest because that's exactly why you are here at Toastmasters, to take an opportunity to compete with other people and show that you're a better speaker. Number 4, the judges training program is coming up on the 1st of September. So every member, please register so that you understand the judging criteria as a speaker and as a participant or as a judge as well. Alright? So please do that. Thank you very much. And we have some new joinees in the club very recently, and that is Suhail.
Yeah, but I don't know if he's here.
Yeah.
Alright, great. So GST, please give a drum roll for our new member, and he is none other than Suhail, who will also be playing the Toastmaster Table Topic Master today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very patiently listening to all my gyan. I will now hand the stage over to the Toastmaster of the day, who will start the proceedings of the meeting. But before I do that, I want to explain this paper to you. I'm sure everybody's got this paper. Does everybody have the paper?
No.
No? Okay.
Please pass the name. The ballot is over there, but you can pass the name. Oh.
Okay. This is the most important document at the Toastmasters meeting. The most important document at the Toastmasters meeting. Okay? So if you see right on top here, it says first speaker. Can you see first speaker? Alright. So the first speaker, Rahul, will come here and deliver his speech. You as a part of the audience, what you need to do is give your feedback, personal feedback, on what you felt was good or bad. Alright, does that make sense? Now, speakers, evaluator will definitely come here at the end of the meeting and give the evaluation, but you, as an individual, you'd also like to give your feedback, and it'll be good for him because he'll get many perspectives to how he spoke. Then the second one is for the second speaker. Can you see the second speaker? The second speaker. There's no third speaker today, so you can ignore that. Then below that you see Toastmaster of the day. You see Toastmaster of the day? Now the Toastmaster of the day, this feedback Toastmaster of the day. Do you see that? Now this section is for this particular role player, Toastmaster of the day. She's going to be coming in. Today we have a lady, so she'll be coming here and taking us through the entire meeting, the Master of Ceremonies, and you can give her a feedback as well. Now, these sections here, these little strips here are the most important, all right? Please don't tear them. But what we'll do is, you will be voting for the best auxiliary role player. You'll be voting for the best role player. You'll be voting for the best evaluator. And you will be voting for the best table topic speaker. And finally, the best speaker. All right? The Toastmaster of the day will call out as to when you need to vote. What you need to do is cast your votes here and then tear the entire thing from here versus tearing it in strips, all right? So you tear it from here, right from here. In fact, you can tear it right now and keep it aside so that you don't forget to do that later. And you keep this aside, so you cast all your votes here and you give this entire slip to the Sergeant of Arms who comes around and takes it from you, all right? So I'll quickly now wind up and hand over the stage to our very charming, very effervescent, very, very congenial and spunky woman who's got a lot of grit and has done a lot for the Toastmasters Club and has also grown tremendously in the number of meetings that she has been a part of. I was fortunate to be with her from probably meeting number 18 or 15 or 14, and I've seen amazing growth since then. So with a big round of applause, let us invite the Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Anjana. The other thing I forgot to mention is that always shake hands before you leave the stage or you get onto the stage, alright? It's good.
Thank you, Toastmaster.